Good morning. Here's my gear. I'm going to throw this first thing to get this guy soaking for just a few minutes. That's what he looks like dry. I've got a yogurt cup that's kind of narrower at the top. I repurposed that into a brush soak cup. In addition to what you've seen, we've also got the post shave for Midnight Stag, the aftershave splash. The Nacet we're going to be using today, continuing to use it. 196 is this series of dots right here. So today is 197. Midnight Stag soap. Weighed it right before the shave today, and I'm very slowly losing content. It's really slow. 124 grams it weighs now. It's just, I don't know if I'm using a quarter of a gram per shave. I don't know, but it's a very small amount. And the razor is the Timeless Open Comb, 68 gap, stainless steel. Already got the blade in it. I loosen it up when I store it to let the air flow through, you know, right there you can see through it. Let the blade and everything dry out, because I know I'm going to be using that same one day after day until the 4th of September will be my last use of it for a little while, because that'll be the end of my consecutive August. The challenge with Austere August is to use the same gear all month, and I did a side challenge sponsored by Dogwood Handcrafts. Stephen Joyner there loves Midnight Stag, and so he said you can use Midnight Stag for the whole month as a challenge, and he makes really good brushes. But unfortunately, because of some logistical shipping problems, I wasn't able to start using my aftershave splash until the 5th of August, and so the 4th of September will be my last day in a consecutive cycle. All right, I'm going to splash my face with a little bit of water. Nice cool water. It is hard water at this location, and this soap does just fine with hard water. If you have a soap that is rough in hard water, excuse me, just load a little bit more, and that usually helps. You can also, for a whole sink full of water, you can add a little sprinkle, tiny pinch of citric acid, available at your canning section in your local store. They use that to do canning of beans and vegetables and whatever else you want, pickling, you know, that sort of thing. All right, so let's do our load. 7 seconds is what I've been doing lately in terms of load time with this brush and this soap, and it gives me plenty enough lather to do the job. Let's try to run it a little bit drier this time and see what happens. Shake most of the water off the brush. You may want to keep more water on your brush. It's just personal preference. It means you have to add less later. All right, so let's do 7 seconds here. And I started at the 3 mark. And there we go. Stopped at the 0 mark. All right. Doesn't look like a lot, and it's not, but it's enough. Rinsed out the threads here. Keep those clean. I hate it when the soap containers are hard to screw on. All right, and then I'll go ahead and here's my cool lather bowl. It's a 3D printed one. Haven't really shown it to you too much. Has this nice little flange at the bottom that I use for gripping. It's got the brush holder right here. Works awesome. The files to be able to print your own if you have access to a 3D printer are in the description of the video. 2.5 teaspoons of water is what I've consistently added to this type of soap mixture. And yesterday it was a little too runny, so I'll do a little bit less today. Still gave me a great shave. Performance was good. but the soap was just kind of coming off of me a little bit more than I might want. That's one good thing about using the same setup all the time. You can rely on that consistency. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in 2 teaspoons of water right now. Why don't we just use that and see how it goes. Yesterday I mixed it up, looked at it, didn't seem like it was wet enough. Well, I was wrong. Looking pretty good. Normally this is a little too dry. I like that stretch though. That's good. Normally if it's all that jaggedy on the brush when I'm holding it up like that with my more kind of favorite soap bases, that is not wet enough, and it needs to be a little bit more elastic. For my preferences, that's all my preferences. But this base and several others just likes to be run a little drier than my usual. Nothing wrong with that. That's just the way the soap was meant to be used. It's the way it was configured at the chemist's lab. Even if that chemist's lab is a small artisan's kitchen, right? I think we've got a nice mixture here. Don't think we have any more wet spots. Plenty of lather, that's for sure. 7 seconds, huh? There we go. That's probably for this soap base. That might be exactly right. It might be right where I want it. Don't want to waste any soap, right? At least this can kind of be a pre-shave, maybe. Water on the face to get ready for the lather. This is a medium backbone brush. Really glad I chose it for the August. I'm definitely going to look forward after the end of this month to bringing in my other brushes and enjoying them. But I have enjoyed this one. This looks a little dry. Now, sometimes it can look dry. This definitely looks dry when you're in scrubbing mode, but switch to this painting mode before you start adding water, just to check on the lather. It still looks a little dry. I can't help but add a little bit more water to it. You can even go back and get a little bit more lather. we go. Let's see how that one works. All right, let's check out the blade, make sure it's still the same one. Nacet. Little X marks the spot down on this corner here. You may notice I keep showing you the same side of the blade. Normally you'd want to rotate it or just let randomness rotate it for you, but it generally doesn't matter. I mean, you don't need to rotate it in a really conscientious way. I just kind of take it out of the packaging, and however it goes in the razor is fine, because the idea is that there's just one edge on each side, and whether it's this way or this way really doesn't matter too much. But this is an experiment. I'm always having one side down just to see what that does to the blade edge. I'm hoping somebody can do a little bit of analysis for me at the end of this journey. A little bit of tugging, not very much at all, not painful at all. Nice clean first pass. Comfortable. Now for the second pass, let's see if I have to add water to the brush as well. Could be that the oils in my face kind of disrupted that first lather. Sometimes that is true. Or at least that seems what's going on. Seems like what's going on. Yeah, this feels good. That's interesting. Maybe when I'm putting on that first layer, first lather, the first pass, maybe I shouldn't really gauge the lather thickness, or the viscosity based on how it looks at that time. Because of the fact that the nature of that first pass, because the way it has to clean my face and work with the oils on my skin, too much oil can kill the lather. Obviously one could do a pre-shave. And then that might fix that. I'd rather just accommodate for it in my passes. My shaves are already enjoyable and long enough. I don't really want to add another 4 minutes to them. All right, rinse. So I think the general idea behind a really old blade like this is that it's so smooth that it's not really going to start tugging. And let that be enough of the problem. I think what it's going to do is not cut as well. Once it degrades to a certain level of dullness, it'll require more work to get the same cut that I'm used to. And I've had to change a little bit. I've had to move up to more aggressive razors or different kinds of razors. Ones maybe that have more curve in the blade seem to be a good fit for an older blade. But just now, 2 shaves, 2 passes, and I've got a great cut already. And that's just very strange for a 197 use blade, right? All right, make sure there's no water in my goatee. or not very much water. Nice smooth shaves here on the second and third pass. Just a light touch on the razor, keeping it light. This will help you with just getting a good cut. But also when you are, if you're marathoning or hypermiling a blade like this, and you switch back to a much younger blade or new blade, then as long as you're keeping a light touch, then it's not going to be a transition problem for you. I've definitely had some reports of other guys who've taken blades really far and they've had to press harder to get a good cut because of the blade they chose, or that's just what they did. And they cut themselves up really bad, switching to a younger blade, trying to avoid that. So pretty much everywhere I get a nice cut, but right here is where it's tough, and I got a good one there today too, so I'm good. I did end up using just a little bit more than the 2 teaspoons, so 2 1/4 teaspoons. That first pass needed that extra quarter to help combat those oils. All right, let's throw on the splash. It's time to go to work. Yeah, definitely kind of it feels like a boozy bourbon type scent. Is the first hit that you get, at least me. Getting used to it. I had it on for about 20 hours yesterday, and my wife could still smell it on me, but I couldn't smell it. I had gone blind to it way before that. So scents are like that. All right, well, I'm gonna start cleaning up. There we are. There we go. We're all good. Didn't take too long. Got a nice shave. Comfortable, no irritation. Splash didn't reveal any nicks or even any bad technique spots with its telltale sting. So we're good. Nothing really to highlight on this one. Kind of a repeat of yesterday, but with just a little bit less water. It worked out great. And I didn't show you how much lather I had left at the end, but it was 1 or 2 passes. And so we're good there. I like to have a little bit extra for margin's sake. And it seems to mix a little better when you have just a little bit extra. All right, well, there we go. Hope this is there's something here helpful for you, if only just to see this Nacet go on another run, right? Well, you take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Goodbye.